Hi, and welcome to another Memories Made video. I'm designer Jen Gallacher, and today I'm going to create a layout for my daughter who just went to a school dance. And I'm going to be using some fun color combinations, and I'm also going to be incorporating several different elements that include gold. And gold is a hot trend that we're seeing right now in both scrapbooking and home decor. And so that's going to be the accent color that I'm going to use. So I have a sheet of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock and some pattern paper from Teresa Collins. And then if you watched a recent or an upcoming out of the box video in which I share my scrapbooking haul, you'll see some of these papers that I've collected. This pink paper is from a Rana Farr collection for My Mind's Eye, and it has the word circus on it, but I cut that element off and I'm just using this pink part of it. So then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this. Now this particular tag is from the Pier collection from Crate Paper, and it matched in a lot of ways the same elements from both this Teresa Collins collection and this My Mind's Eye collection. And so you'll see me use that a lot. Now, one thing that I like to do is this particular die cut came stitched and assembled from the Pier collection. And I love this gold tag on the bottom, but the other tags don't really match. So I'm going to deconstruct it, meaning I'm just going to go ahead and take it apart. I don't feel obligated to use an embellishment the way that it was sent. I like to mix it up and use it however I'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the gold at the top. Now I did like, however, the way that it was layered, and so I'm going to pick a color of pattern paper that I like, and I'm going to cut my own pennant. And I'm using a pennant banner shape, and I'm going to slip this inside the punch, and I'm not going to punch the entire part of the pattern paper. And this is a technique that you will see me use in my new tool school workshop. So if you like using your tools in unique ways like this, this is a great way to do it. And then I'm just going to take my paper cutter and trim off the tag to a point that works for me. Again, because I deconstructed, I can reassemble it and recreate it however I'd like. And we'll just assemble this at the top here. We're going to overlap those stitches. Now another way that you can do that is you can take the actual initial piece and you can put it on a piece of pattern paper. And this is a pattern paper from Cartabella called Paris Girl. And then you simply use a marker or a pencil to cut and trim the shape from a pattern paper that you prefer. So you can mix and match to match your project by simply using a different pattern paper from the embellishment that came. So think of ways that you can alter and restructure something that you've already purchased. Can you change it with some mist ink? Can you ink it with an ink pad? Can you exchange part of it for another embellishment that you have so it better matches your project? And we'll go ahead and adhere this slightly under the pink one. And you can see just by cutting some new patterns, I have created my own pennant that better matches the layout I'm going to do. Now I have some photos that I have printed at home. If you like this white outline on the photos, all you need to do is print them out at your favorite online or local printer, and then you just mount them on white cardstock. I print them at home on a sheet of 8.5 by 11 inch photo paper, so I just leave the white edge around it when I cut it. So one color that I wanted to bring more in is the black, and this is some pattern paper also from the Rana Farr line, and it is a beautiful sophisticated line, and it has beautiful layers of patterns and unique shapes, and the embellishments are really layered and it contain a lot of detail. And so you can use any element from this particular collection you want. I wanted this page to be a little more sophisticated, so that's why I went with this particular collection. We'll just adhere this at the bottom. Then this is some older paper, and I usually keep my paper for about 6 months to a year. And then if I haven't used it in that time, I will try to cycle it out by donating it to a local school or to a friend, or I will sell it so that I can purchase new supplies. What it does is it helps me realize what I'm using more often, and that way I make better purchases in the future. But it also helps me realize what things I want to keep on hand and I use more frequently. So I'm going to lightly adhere this on top of the other black border. Then I'm going to take some black baker's twine and I'm going to lift the banner and wrap it around a few times. And a lot of times you'll see me use crochet twine in white or craft, but for this sophisticated layout, I wanted more layering. And I even wanted additional layering in my twine, so I am using baker's twine for this. And that's sometimes how I determine whether I want to use baker's twine or whether I just want a flat, one-dimensional, one-color twine, is how detailed do I want the project to look. So then I'll just separate the tie. Then I have some journaling. It just talks about her experience going to the school dance. And I'm going to place it behind the black border, and I'm going to put it a little askew. Then I'm going to take a gold accent color that I've been using in washi tape, and this one has gold stars. I'm going to link you to some other options for gold tape, including some glitter tape that would be beautiful for a project like a school dance or prom or whatever you're using it for. And we'll just adhere that here, and you can see how I'm bringing some of those gold accents in. Now, there are lots of different textures that you can add to your page, and we talked a little bit about textures in our last video. This particular vellum, or rather linen, border is an option that you can use, and you simply adhere it or stitch it to the project. I'm going to tuck it underneath this black chevron. You could mist this to alter the color. They do come in both white and a cream. So you have a couple of options there. And then if you don't already have this embellishment on hand from Pink Paisley, what you can do is you can get some linen from your local fabric store and then look for a die cut border that has that particular color, or rather that particular shape, and then you can cut it out from material. So you're not limited to embellishments that you already have on hand. You can get your own. So I have some pink buttons that I'm going to use, and they're in a soft pink that matches the pink in the pattern papers. And I have tied these buttons with the white crochet twine that I mentioned earlier. And then I have one here at the top that I'm going to add. You'll notice that when I'm adding elements, I will try and do more than one on the page. I want to bring in a little bit more of those gold accents, and so I'm going to use some gold sequins. And in the Pier Ephemera pack, there are several of these gold sequins, and there are a couple of different ways to adhere sequins to your projects. The easiest way to do single sequins is just small glue dots. But you could also use a wet adhesive. You could also machine stitch them to your page. You could pin them and push the pin through the hole of the sequin, but you can see that it adds just a little bit of shimmer and shine, which is a popular technique right now, is just adding dimension like that. So here at the top, I want to use a sticker, and it is going to be a banner, kind of a subtitle. And these are stickers from the same collection as this pattern paper. And it is a dimensional sticker, which means that I already have a dimension to it. I don't have to add foam dots or do anything special to it. It's just ready to go as is, and that makes it nice. If you have a sticker that you want to use and you want to add dimension, you can simply use glue dots to do so. So we'll go ahead and start adhering these on to our page. And if your sticker backing comes off like mine did, you can just add some adhesive and stick it down. So when I'm using stickers, I cut out the sticker from the backing so that I can see how it will look. And that way I'm not sticking it on my page and messing up. I'm just simply adding it after I've had a chance to look at the placement. So just softly create a curve so that it says soar. Now I wanted to show you a really fun technique that you can do for titles, and what you'll need is a digital die cut machine, and then you will need an adhesive sheet. Now this is an old adhesive sheet from Quick Cuts, and what it has is it has vellum on one side and it's sticky, and then it has a backing, a protective backing that you can peel off. And so I ran it through my digital die cut machine and I cut it out. And what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle it with some glitter to add a little bit more bling to the page. So here is what the die cut looks without the covering being taken off. So let's go ahead and glitter this up. I'll show you how we're going to do that. So I have the die cut, I have a folded sheet of printer paper, and then I've selected some glitter. This is a fine glitter and it is gold. And then what I will do is I will just peel off that protective covering on the vellum, and it will leave the sticky side of the vellum. Another way to do this is to die cut this shape from a color that matches the gold or whatever color of glitter you're going to use, and then you could run dimensional adhesive across the cut. So then I will just take the glitter and generously sprinkle it all over that cut, and we will be putting that glitter back in, so you don't need to worry about extra. Just really be generous with it. Make sure you cover all of the cut. And then you can use your finger, or I'm going to use the side of my adhesive runner and just kind of press the glitter onto the cut while it's still on that adhesive sheet. And then we're going to tap off the extra. So it's kind of tricky. Now you could also spray a fixative onto the cut after you've cut it, and you can see that it is now a glitter die cut. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the glitter back into the glitter bottle, and then we'll come back and finish the layout. So I went ahead and machine stitched on the layout a little bit, and I wanted to show you where I did that. I did it across the top of the pennants, and then I bent them up a little bit with my finger to give them some added dimension. I used a yellow thread that mimics silica gold. I messy stitched down the side here, and I stitched across the top of the title. I also moved up the buttons in the sequin because I wanted to place my title down here. And we'll just go ahead and do some adhesive across the bottom here. And then we'll place our glitter title across the top. And this would look fun with a very chunky glittered project, or one that uses a multitude or a rainbow of glitter. Lots of different options. But there you see how you can add bling to your layout with a glitter die cut, as well as some sequins and some gold foil accents. Thank you for joining me for today's Memories Made video. Be sure to watch for a new video coming next week. If you've missed any of the videos in this weekly series, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube video or visit my blog at jengallagher.blogspot.com for all the additional videos.